Welcome to the Lake Wildwood Sprint Triathlon. This webinar is intended to give basic understanding of triathlon to first-timers and those with limited experience. The Lake Wildwood Sprint Triathlon will be held this year on Sunday, August 13th in Varna, Illinois. My name is Bob. I have experience coaching swimming and running. I've competed in all distances of triathlon, and I've volunteered in hundreds of different triathlon and running events. I've been told that when you hold a session like this, that you should start out with a joke. Well, unfortunately, I don't have a good joke to share. So instead, I'm going to tell you a little story, the history, the beginning of triathlon. And it kind of starts out like a joke. So that's my link to the joke. It started in Hawaii. 3 guys walked into a bar. There was a swimmer, a biker, and a runner. And they were discussing who is the best endurance athlete. And each, of course, felt like their discipline created the best endurance athlete. So they decided to prove it by creating a brand new event, which would include all 3. They left the bar that day with the homework that they were going to each pick an existing event, and they were going to put the 3 together, and then they were going to compete to see who was the best. So they went home, came back the next day. The swimmer had chosen the Waikiki Beach open water swim, which is 2.4 miles long. The runner chose the Honolulu Marathon, and the biker picked the 112-mile round the island bike ride. But what the biker failed to mention to the other 2 was that his event was actually a 2-day event, whereas the swim and the run were all done in half a day or less. The biking event was a 2-day event. So if you're ever wondering why in a triathlon is the bike so much longer than the other 2 legs, that is why. Because the biker kind of cheated when he put the event together. And that was the first Ironman. And then half of that is what they call a half Ironman. If you half it again, that is an Olympic distance triathlon. And half of that would be a sprint triathlon. Now, don't be deceived by the name sprint. Lake Wildwood is a sprint triathlon, but it is by no means a sprint. It's 19 miles long. It's going to take you 1 to 2 hours to complete. So by all means, pace yourself, stay in control the whole time, and don't consider it a sprint until possibly when you get to the end of the run and you see the finish line ahead of you. What is a triathlon? It is actually 4 different components. There's the 3 that we obviously know about. In this particular case, the swim is half a mile long, and it's done in the lake in open water. The bike is 15.5 miles done on open roads, and the run is a 5K or 3.1 miles. But in between each of those, there is a transition area. It is very important to include the transition area into your mind thought, because that time is on the clock. You start the race when you run, the clock starts when you run into the water, and the clock ends when you cross the finish line after the run. So the time in between each of the events also counts, and that is critical to be considered. Recommendations on what's the best thing to wear when you're performing a triathlon. So really what you're looking for is something that is going to be streamlined in the water. It's going to be aerodynamic on the bike, and it's going to be comfortable on the run. So you want to put those three thoughts together into something. So one choice is a triathlon suit, which we have pictured here. It's made of a material that's comfortable, stretches, and dries easily. You can swim in it. You can bike in it. It has the nice biker short bottoms. It has a pad underneath, but unlike a regular biker pad, it is able to be in the water. It's smaller and it dries easily. So that is one option. And you'll see some people wearing tri-suits. Okay. It is the more expensive option. So if you're new to triathlon and you're not really ready to commit to a tri-suit quite yet, the other thing to consider is swim in a bathing suit that is streamlined. You don't want anything big and baggy. You're going to be swimming for half a mile. It's a long way. So you don't want to put any extra effort into the swim as a result of having a baggy swimsuit. So some type of swimsuit, you want it to be streamlined. The Speedos jammers, or even tri-shorts, which kind of look like the bottom half of this picture here. That's a good option. Then for the bike, you want to have some type of shirt that's a little bit tighter fitting so that it's aerodynamic, but you do want it to be comfortable. You can wear running shorts on the bike, or you can wear biking pants. And then for the run, just something that's comfortable. Again, you can change your shirt if you wish, or you can use the same shirt and shorts that you used on the bike. Wetsuits are sometimes used when people swim in open water. Wetsuits in triathlon are only allowed if the temperature is under 78 degrees. Now, historically, Lake Wildwood in August is always warmer than that. So you should plan on the fact that wetsuits will not be legal. Okay, plan on swimming your race without a wetsuit. You'll have to pick up your packet before the race. Included in your packet is your swim cap, your timing chip, and your run bib. In 2023, we will have early packet pickup the day before the race on Saturday between 4 and 6 at the coffee hub located in Lakeland, Illinois. For other years, you might want to check the website and confirm where early packet pickup is. But for 2023, it'll be at the coffee hub. If you're unable to pick it up the day before, you can pick up your packet in the morning before the race. Morning of packet pickup will be available at the pavilion next to the parking area, and that will be open from 6:30 to 7:30. Before the race, things that you can do to prepare. Number one would be make a list of all the things you want to bring for race day. Do that list well in advance. Don't wait till the night before or the morning of, because I guarantee you will forget things. So prepare a list, and then the night before, you can simply grab everything you need off the list, get it all together, and you'll be in good shape. Another thing you can do the evening before is prepare your swim goggles. If you have anti-fog or any adjustments to make sure that your swim goggles are exactly the way you want them for the morning. And of course, your bike itself. Prep the bike all up the night before. You want to check the brakes, make sure they're working, make sure the tires are well inflated, lube it up, oil up the chain, get that bike in race-ready condition. What I've listed here is a few other things that you would want to consider to put on your list. You don't have to put all these on your list, but might get you thinking about other things that you might want to bring. Some of these, of course, would be required. Other ones are optional by you. Of course, you're going to want running shoes. Some people choose elastic laces. This is a handy item that you would put on your shoes. You take off your cotton laces, put on the elastic ones, and it turns your running shoes into nice, comfortable loafers. So instead of taking a minute or so to put on your running shoes, you can slip them on in seconds. Of course, we have the shorts for the bike and the swim. Some people like to bike with gloves. It makes their hands feel much more comfortable. If it's a sunny day, you may choose to run with a hat, a small water bottle, and I'll explain this more in a second. This is something you're going to use in the transition area. Sunglasses, if it's a sunny day, it's beneficial on the bike and on the run. Biking shoes, if you choose to use different shoes for the run and the bike. If you're going to use the same shoes for the run and bike, then just the running shoes are adequate. A race belt. That's an item that some people aren't too familiar with. When you run, there's a bib that we want you to wear with your number on it. You certainly don't want to swim with that bib number on. And optionally, you may want to have it on the bike, but you don't need it on the bike. Some people find it catches the wind or it flaps and it's noisy, so they prefer not to have their bib when they do their bike ride. So that leaves you with just putting the bib number on for the run portion. The easiest way to do this is to have a belt, which is nothing more than an elastic belt that you can, and then when you're in transition, you're getting ready for the run, you would just grab that belt, clip it on, and now you have your number where it should be. Going on down the list, sunscreen. If you're prone to getting sunburn and it's going to be a sunny day, again, visor. If you prefer not to have a hat, but would like to have some shade over your eyes, visor is a good option. A larger bottle for water or sports drink. This is something that you would put on your bike. And as I said, you could fill it with whatever your drink of choice is. Goggles, cap, and chip, those are the items that you're going to use for your swim. A lot of people, most people swim with goggles, allows them to see better. Cap is going to be provided by us, and we require that you wear the cap to designate your group and color. And then the chip, which goes around your ankle, and that is provided by us. If you want a shirt, you may want to have the same shirt for your bike and run. You may want to have different shirts. That's your choice. Bike helmet is absolutely positively required. No one will be allowed to ride their bike without a bike helmet. Body Glide is a type of lubricant that people like to put on in areas of chafing, like swimsuit lines or where your sports bra comes in, maybe around the underarms, any areas that may be prone to chafing. This Body Glide will lube them up and it'll make you feel more comfortable. It will reduce in any kind of scarring. Socks for your feet, a small towel that you would use in transition, just to kind of dry off or wipe off your feet. And then last, my personal favorite is a bucket. And what I mean by this is like the Home Depot 5-gallon buckets. numerous benefits to this. It is a great way to carry your gear in. If you have more gear than will fit in a 5-gallon bucket, you have too much. So par down your stuff a little bit. But it's a great way to carry your stuff. I know a lot of people have those fancy triathlon backpacks. They're big, bulky, they take up a lot of room. Bucket doesn't take up much room. And as I said, if you have more stuff that fits in there, you've got too much stuff. So the first benefit to that is the fact that it controls the amount of stuff you bring with. And I'll talk about more benefits to the bucket in just a moment. Race day itself, okay? Arrive early. Don't want to rush yourself. Give yourself plenty of time to get there, plenty of time to get situated. Okay. You can pick up your packet if you haven't picked it up the night before at the coffee hub. You're going to get your chip and you're going to put it on your left ankle. It can go on either ankle. Left ankle is recommended because that will keep out of the way of the big chain ring on your bike. But your chip goes around your ankle and it has to be on you for all 3, swim, bike, and run. You're also going to get body marked before the race. In triathlon, they put your number on your arms and on your legs for identification. So that has to be done in the morning before the race. Then you're going to head over to the transition area and get yourself set up. Okay. If you get there earlier, you'll have plenty of time to look around, see how the transition works, look at all the ins and outs of the transition area, where you come in from the swim, where you go out on the bike, where you come in on the bike, and where you go out for the run. And if you get in early and have time, you can actually go into the water and warm up a little bit before your swim. The transition area itself, for those that are just runners or bikers, this is a new concept. Because you have 3 different things you have to do, you need a place where you can change out from swim things to bike things and from bike things to run things. You need kind of a home base where your stuff is going to be and where you can go and pick things up and drop things off. And that's what your transition is. Okay. So the earlier you get there, the more choice you'll have in where you're going to put your stuff. It's a first come, first serve. So come in early, you'll have your choice of where you want to set up your bike and other stuff. Everyone shares the same transition area. So be cognizant of other people and try and take up a minimal amount of space. Try and be small and be respectful of others. The triathlon the transition is going to look much different in the beginning than it does after all the bikes are there. So look it all over, get set up, but then look it over again when you're all done to make sure you know where your stuff is. As I said before, review the ins and outs so you know where you're going to be traveling. Don't want to figure that out when you're in the middle of your race. After everything's all set up, you can leave for the swim. The only thing you're going to take with you are your goggles, your chip, and your cap. Okay? Everything else you want to leave in the transition area. If it's a cold morning, you may choose to bring like a shirt to wear to keep you warm until your wave starts in the swim, or you may choose to wear a jacket for a little while, but you cannot bring those things back into transition. When it's time for you to swim, you either have to discard those in the garbage, or if you're lucky enough to have some fans come by to watch you, you can give it to them. Everyone has to be out of transition by 7:45. Okay, transition is closing. Everyone has to be on the beach. You must be out of transition by 7:45. Okay. Another thing that I'd like to mention is in the transition area, we are going to have water and Gatorade. That is a good opportunity to get a little bit of water, maybe have some Gatorade, as well as fill up your bottle for your bike. You have a bottle on your bike and you would like to have Gatorade in it, you can fill it up from our tub. You don't have to bring your own Gatorade. If you have any other special drink, that of course you'll have to bring from home. Okay. Inside the transition area itself, you're going to find these bike racks that are pictured like this over here. When you rack your bike or hang your bike, best way to do it is by the nose of the seat. Okay. The reason being is that you're going to be doing all your work in front of the bike. When you're ready to leave transition, all you're going to do is take that bike, push it back 2 inches, it'll drop down from off the rack, and then you'll be able to easily pull it out from the front. Okay. Most efficient way to rack your bike. Now we'll get back to the bucket. Your stuff should be set up in front of your bike by the front wheel and to the right of the front wheel. If everybody does it the same way, we'll have more room for everybody. You want to stack your things in the order in which you're going to use them, which means that the last thing that you use will be at the bottom of your pile. The first thing that you use will be at the top of your pile. Then when you run into transition and you're in race mode, you don't have to think, what am I going to do next? What am I going to put on next? You're simply going to take it from the top to the bottom of your pile. So what that means is if you have a small towel to wipe your feet off, that will be on the top of your pile. If you're going to put on your shirt second, your shirt will be the second thing in the pile. Shorts would probably be the third thing, and then socks and so on. Okay, so you want to put things on in order in which you're going to grab them so you don't have to think. You can simply grab the things off the pile in order. Okay. Another benefit to your bucket is once everything's all set up nice and neat in a pile, you can put your bucket on top of it and now no one will mess with that. Wind won't blow things away. If it's, hopefully not, but if we have some rain on that day, your stuff won't get wet because it'll be dry underneath your bucket. Another advantage of your bucket is it's an easy way to find your location. If you have a big orange bucket in front of your bike, you can see that quickly and you can go right to where your bike is. Because as I said, when you rack your bike, it may look like this, which is easy to find. When you leave transition, it might look like this, which is much more difficult to find your bike. Okay. So the bucket, whether it be color or you can even paint it, make some unique designs on there, customize your bucket so it's something easy for you to find, and then you can quickly get to your bike after the swim. When others rack their bike, they should alternate. In this case, we have the front tire here, the back tire here. We would hope if the other two on either side of you do things correctly, they will rack their bikes in the opposite direction. So their front tire is next to your back tire. And the person on the right and left, if they both do that, now they'll have a little additional space to work when they get ready for the other legs of the event. You also will not have people immediately to your right or left. There'll be a little bit of a gap because there'll be back wheels on either side of your bike. The front wheels will be on the other side of the rack. Okay, the first leg of the triathlon is the swim. And for most people, this is the scariest leg. And why is the swim so scary? Because it's a difficult thing to practice for. Most people do not have unlimited access to open water to practice. Most people practice their swim in a pool. And what is the difference between open water and a pool? Well, in a pool, you're going to go about 25 yards and then you're going to hit a wall and push off again. At Lake Wildwood, you're going to be going half a mile before you're going to see ground again. Okay. You're going to start out, you're going to swim half a mile in water that you cannot stand up in, and then you're going to come back to the beach. A pool has crystal clear water with a big black line down the middle, so you're always traveling straight. Okay. In a lake, you don't have that luxury. Okay. The water is going to be murky, it's going to be hard to see, there's no line to follow. You're going to have to sight or look yourself to see where you're going. A lot of people have a pool lane all to themselves. This is open. You're going to be starting in a crowd of people. You're going to be starting at the beach with a group of about 15 to 25 people, and you're all going to run into the water as a group. And then when you're swimming, there will be people that swim faster than you and swim by. There's going to be people that are slower than you that you're going to come up upon. So there's going to be a lot of jockeying in the water, and everyone is not excluded to a certain lane. They're going to be going all over the place. It's a unusual concept to get used to when you swim in the nothing but the pool all the time. And then in case of an emergency situation or goggles getting kicked off your face or goggles fogging up, anything like that, in a pool, you simply would stand up and you would adjust them. You can't stand up in open water. If you run into an emergency and you need help, you simply wave your arms over your head and someone will come to assist you. Okay. So these are the main differences between a pool and a lake. They are not insurmountable. They are very easy things to accommodate. You simply want to know about them and mentally prepare for them. So the key thing is know what the differences are. Don't be surprised and prepare for the differences. Okay. The swim itself is going to be what we call a wave start. You're going to start in a group of people of same sex and similar age. There's going to be 15 to 25 people in your group. You're all going to start on the beach. And when the horn goes off, you're all going to run into the water together. The swim course is pictured here. It is roughly a rectangle. You're going to start in the beach. You're going to swim a short distance, and then you're going to turn at this corner. You're going to swim a medium length, turn again. Then you're going to swim a long length, turn again, and head to shore, right back to the beach. Okay. At the corners, there is going to be a large orange buoy, like the one pictured here in this photograph. There will be one of those at each of the corners. In between those, there's going to be a smaller yellow buoy, like the one pictured here, okay? Small yellow, and the yellow ones are going to be about 200 yards apart in between those orange ones. So you have orange, big orange ones to spot at the corners, and you're going to have small yellow ones to spot in between. There will be kayaks and lifeguards on surfboards throughout the swim. You will be safe. If anything happens and you need immediate assistance, simply stop swimming and wave your arms over your head. Someone will come to you and help you out. If you are swimming just fine, but you'd really like to have a little bit of a rest, feel free to swim up to the kayaks or swim up to the boards, and you can hang on them. Catch your breath, gain your composure, take a little bit of time there, have a chat with the lifeguards. That's all perfectly fine. And then when you're ready to swim again, just let go and swim on either to the finish or to the next kayak or lifeguard. When you swim, you're able to swim any stroke you like. There's no rules about the swim stroke. Okay? The crawl, which is what you see people doing here, is typically the most efficient one. But if you choose to do butterfly for the whole course, you're welcome to. If you want to do side stroke or backstroke, you're able to do that too. Stroke is acceptable. At the end of the swim on the beach, there will be a special needs table. And what that consists of is simply a table where you can put things you need immediately when you come out of the water. Some people like to put glasses there because they have a very difficult time seeing without their glasses. They feel uncomfortable traveling from the beach to the transition and finding their bike without their glasses. So you can leave those on the special needs table. No one will be policing the table. It's at your own risk, but it's a safe place. No one's really going to take anything from there. So you can pick up your glasses or whatever you need and then use that to help you get into the transition area. They say on race day, don't do anything for the first time. Practice everything you do beforehand. Which means if you've never swam in open water, it's a very good idea to get a little bit of practice in open water. So it's not completely new to you and it's not completely scary to you. Lake Wildwood is doing something fairly unique. They're offering an open water swim clinic at the lake right where the race is going to take place. Sunday morning, July 16th, you will have the ability for a slight additional charge to register for the swim clinic and get some open water experience and some swimming tips from experienced swimming coaches. As I said, check the website if you're interested, register online through the website, slight additional charge. What we are going to go over is the mass start, practicing the wave start. We're going to teach a long and strong arm stroke, which is more efficient for distance open water swimming. We'll give you some tips on how to sight to keep you straight so that you don't have to swim more than the half mile that the course is. We want to keep you on track and swim the line to line straight distance as opposed to zigzag 3/4 of a mile to a mile distance. And it also gives you some experience of swimming in a crowd. So that's something we recommend, not required. Assuming most people practice in a pool, here's a couple of swim drills that I think will help you with the open water swim when you don't have an ability to get to open water and practice there. Blind man's bluff is a drill where when you're swimming in the pool, I know the water is crystal clear, but don't take advantage of that. Anytime your eyes are under the surface of the water, close them. If you want to see where you're going, pick your eyes up over the surface of the water and open them. Try and swim like that for about 200 yards. You can open your eyes and look as many times as you like. There's no limitation on that, but only do it when your eyes are above the surface of the water. Another one is golf scores. This is emphasizing a long and strong arm stroke. You want to try and get as much distance as you can out of every single arm stroke. Swim from one end of the pool to the other, count your strokes. If it takes you 25 strokes to go from one end to the other, now try and do it again at 24 strokes. Lengthen that stroke a little bit. See if you can do it in 24. And if you can do it in 24, now try 23 and continue until maybe you get down to 20 strokes. Try and be as efficient as possible with your arm strokes. By swimming in trash, what I mean is most pools have a bunch of swim aids like pool buoys or kickboards. Sometimes they have those floaty noodles. Throw a bunch of those in your lane and swim up and down. It'll give you the practice of bumping into things when you're swimming. And you also give you the practice of sighting, seeing where these things are and swimming around them. And then the final one on my list is to practice floating. We hope that you'll start the swim strong from beginning to end. But if need be, you may have to stop, rest a little bit. It's good to have good floating skills, just in case you do have to stop along the way, adjust your goggles, rinse out your goggles, defog your goggles, something like that. It's good to be able to float and do that easily without any additional effort. When you're done with the swim, you are going to run into the transition area. The transition from swim to bike, they call T1. Okay. What you're going to do is run into the transition area. Remember, you're on the clock. So you want to make sure you do everything correctly, but you also want to make sure you do it as quickly as possible. So you're going to find your bike. You're going to run over to where your bike is. You're going to pick the bucket up and you're going to take it off of your stuff. You're going to grab that towel and the little water bottle that you brought. You're going to sit on your bucket and you're going to use it as a stool. You're going to see everyone around you is trying to put socks on wet feet, standing on one leg or sitting on the ground. You're going to have this nice, comfy little bench to sit on. You're going to sit on your bucket. You're going to rinse off your feet with the little water bottle. You're going to take your towel and you're going to dry your feet off. And then you're going to put your socks on over your feet, and then slip on your shirt, your shorts, your shoes, right? Everything you need for your bike. Now, when you're done with that, you're going to take your bucket, turn it upside down, and now it becomes a nice, convenient little waste basket for you. You're going to throw your swim cap, your goggles, your towel, anything you don't need anymore. You're going to toss those into the bucket waste container. And there again, it's not going to crash the transition area. All your stuff is going to be in a nice, compact little area. And you're only going to be taking up a little bit of space. Okay. Now you're going to take your helmet, you're going to put your helmet on and you're going to buckle it. Put on your helmet and buckle it before you even touch your bike. Okay. Once your helmet's on, you're going to grab your bike You're going to push it back 2 inches. It's going to drop down off the rack, and you're going to be able to easily pull it out of the group, and you're going to run, not bike, out of the transition area. There is no running allowed. There's no riding allowed in the transition area. Only walking or running. No riding in transition. You're going to exit the transition area, and then shortly outside of transition, there will be a marker and a line where you can get onto your bike. There will be a volunteer there, and that's what, in this picture here, there's a volunteer. All you can see is his hand, but he is telling you, you cannot get on your bike until you cross the mountain line. You're going to walk across the mountain line, and then you can get on your bike and ride the bike leg. Okay. The bike leg starts at the beach. It's going to go a little bit in the Lake Wildwood area and a lot on the open roads outside of Lake Wildwood. Okay. So beware, you are riding on open roads with traffic. Okay. The bike leg starts with a large hill, which means when you put your bike, when you rack it, when you hang it on the frame, you want to make sure it's in a low or an easy gear. Because as soon as you jump on that bike and you start your ride, you're immediately going to hit a hill and you're going to wish you were in a low gear. Okay. If you're not in an easy gear, you probably won't have enough time to downshift into it. Okay. Now, rack your bike in an easy gear. The bike pedals themselves, many people have shoes that clip into the pedals. Those are great. If you have those, of course, you can use them. If you don't have that, another cheaper alternative is what's pictured here. They're called cages. You can put those on your regular pedal, and it kind of simulates what the clips will do. The reason that I highly recommend this is without this, on a conventional bike ride, your pedals are going in a circle. When you're at the front of the circle, you're pushing down on the pedal. And that's the only propulsion you get. So you push down with your right foot and then down with your left foot, down with your right, down with your left. This uses your quad muscles, which are the big ones between your knee and your hip on the front of your leg. But that's all you use. You constantly use your quads for the entire bike ride. And then when you're done riding and you start to run, you're going to use your quads again. So you really beat up your quads something terrible. The other alternative is clips or cages. What these do is they allow you that when your foot is in the back of the pedaling circle, you can pull up on your foot. So when you push down with your right foot, you can pull up with your left foot, which means now instead of using one leg, you're using two legs. Instead of using just your quads pushing down, you're pulling up with your hamstrings. And now you're using two big muscles to circle those pedals around instead of one. It's half of the effort. Okay? And your legs are going to be much better prepared for the run. So highly suggest that because you use 4 muscles instead of 2 muscles. So, as I said, the road is open. Beware, ride like you would on your training rides. Watch out for cars, stay to the right. There are absolutely no music or earbuds allowed on the bike course. We want you to listen to traffic. We want you to be safe. Triathlon does not allow any music or earbuds. And Lake Wildwood Our triathlon is following the standard triathlon rules. Absolutely no music. There's also no drafting, which is a triathlon rule. What drafting means is you cannot ride directly behind another bike within 3 bike lengths. We want you to stay to the right. We want you to follow the person ahead of you. And we want you to be 3 bike lengths behind or more all the time. Anything closer than that is called drafting. Now, there is one and only one exception to that rule. If you want to pass someone, you are you are allowed to pass. The way that you do a legal pass is you ride up behind them, you keep on pedaling until you're 2 bike lengths behind the other person. Now you move over to the left. You announce yourself. You say passing on the left. You pedal hard, get ahead of them, maybe one bike length ahead, and then you come back over into the right. If you are being passed, as soon as that other bike passes you, let off just a little bit. Let them get ahead of you and over to the right. Okay? And then resume your normal speed. If someone passes you and you felt like you weren't riding as fast as you probably should have, do not challenge them while they're passing you. After they do a successful pass and they merge back to the right, if you feel like you should be ahead of that person, go ahead and you repeat what I just described and you pass them. Right up to within 2 bike lengths, announce yourself passing on the left, move over to the left, pedal hard, get ahead of them, move over to the right. The last thing I want to mention about biking is something they call arrow position. That's what is pictured here. Some people prefer to ride in that crouched position. It's more aerodynamic. So potentially you should have a faster ride. It's a bit uncomfortable, but it gets you down into that more streamlined position. Okay? Absolutely not required. As a matter of fact, we are completely and totally bike friendly, which means that as long as you have a bike helmet on, you can ride with any type of bike and any way you like. You can bring your $10,000 Trek, or you can bring your sister's 20-year-old Huffy. Any type of bike is allowed. As long as you're comfortable with it, it is welcome at our triathlon. So I wanted to speak a little bit about nutrition. Given that this is a sprint triathlon, food really is not required, but it is, as I said, an hour to an hour and a half long. So you most certainly want to hydrate, especially if it's hot and humid. You want to take in fluids by all means. Okay? Water is adequate, but some type of sports drink with electrolytes is even better for you than just plain water. Something with electrolytes is recommended. We will have Gatorade and water in tubs in transition. You can get that before the race. Anytime you're in transition, you're welcome to that. You're welcome to take it and fuel up before the race and store it on your bike. There are no aid stations on the bike, but there will be on the run. Now, while liquid is really required, food is optional, but it can be a fun treat. If you like chocolate covered almonds or you have some sort of bar that you really, really like, I recommend that you bring it along, have fun eating it. It just brings up your spirits a little bit, and it's a tasty little treat along the way. The best place to hydrate and eat your optional food is on the bike. So recommend that you do that on the bike. If you're not used to doing that, again, practice a little bit. Practice eating and drinking on your bike during your training runs. When your bike is done, you're going to be coming back into transition, and that is what we call T2. Okay. This course has been well designed so that there is absolutely no crossover. There's no overlap between the swim, the bike, and the run, except one spot. When you finish your bike ride, you are going to be coming down a hill. Oops, didn't mean to. You are going to be coming down a hill, and then you are going to be turning right into transition. When you finish the run, you're going to be running down a hill, and you're going to be turning left to the finish line. Right there between the finish line and the transition area, the two cross. The only place in the whole race where there's any crossover, but it's here. There will be a couple of volunteers there to make everyone safe, to make sure that there's no collisions, but please look out on your own as well. When you're coming down the hill at the end of the bike, watch out so there's no runners in your way. When you're running down the hill and you're sprinting to the finish line, watch out that there aren't any bikes coming across your path. So the recommendation on how to finish a bike ride is to down gear into something easy and just kind of spin your legs, not push the pedals hard, just kind of spin them nice and easy. It's a way to get your bikes ready and get your legs ready for the run and to spin out some of that lactic acid that's been building up in your legs, okay? Given that this race ends the bike with a slight downhill, that's a great opportunity to downshift, take advantage of the coast, and spin your legs a little bit to kind of loosen them up so they're ready for the run. Just like how you got on your bike, there's going to be a bike dismount line outside of the transition area. That is where you have to get off of your bike. You cannot ride your bike into transition. It is at that location you must get off your bike and then walk or run with your bike into the transition area. Okay. As I suggested before, a good place to get a drink is on the bike. So when you finish that, you can get a good drink or maybe take a good swallow when you're in transition before you start your run. When you get to the bike rack, now you don't have to worry about hanging your bike up nice and neatly. Just do it as fast as possible. And fast as possible usually means by the handlebars or by the brake pedals, okay? So just quickly rack your bike up on these racks, drop off your helmet in your bucket, which is your little waste paper bag. If you have something like bike gloves on or anything else that you do not need from the bike ride, throw those in your little trash can bucket. Put on your running shoes if you had biking shoes. Otherwise, just put on your bib number, whatever you need for the run, possibly a hat, maybe sunglasses if you didn't have them already on the bike, whatever you need for the run. And you don't have to think about this because it's going to be on your pile at the bottom. So if there's anything else on your pile, you're going to take it and use it. If there's nothing else on your pile, that means you're ready to run. So go ahead and run out and start the run. Now, the run is just 3 miles, a 5K, but beware, this is not your typical 5K. So for you runners, don't think that you're going to be able to run this like you do your neighborhood 5K. You've just done a long swim and you've been on the bike a long time. So your legs are going to be tired. Okay. The run starts with a hill. So just be aware, coming right out of transition, one of the first things you're going to do is go up a hill. And this run has more hills than your average 5K. So you certainly, from a strategy standpoint, want to save some energy for this run. Don't come off the bike really, really tired with tired legs. Save something for this run. Headphones are not allowed on the run. As I said, the run is going to be a 5K, 3.1 miles. It's all inside of the Lake Wildwood property. Here's a picture of the course for 2023. There will be 2 aid stations on the course. They will both have water and Gatorade. The stations will be approximately at mile 1 and roughly at mile 2, give or take. Okay. Now, you are running on a trafficked road. The roads are not closed, so be aware and be alert. Now, you are in the Lake Wildwood property, so more than likely you'll probably run into more golf carts than cars. Nonetheless, the roads are open, so it's your responsibility to be alert and be aware of traffic around you. And the basic strategy for the run is to plan your run and then run your plan. And what I mean by that is have some idea of what you're going to do going into the run. If you're going to start the run and you feel tired, have a strategy as to what you're going to do while you're running to kind of recover. Also plan that if you came off the bike and you have lots of energy, then how are you going to attack the run? Or which areas might you accelerate a little bit? Which ones might you hold back? So as I said, this is the run course. It starts at the beach, runs around through the property, past a couple of aid stations, and then finishes up back at the beach again where the finish line is. So after the end of your run, you're going to run down that hill that I showed you. You're going to watch out as you cross the bike path, and you're going to cross the finish line, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to have your best time. A couple of training tips that I would offer between now and race day. Okay. I offered up some swim drills. Those are good to practice when you're in a pool. If you have an opportunity to do some open water swimming, that would be great. If you so choose and you want to participate in the swim clinics, go online and register for those. Practice bricks. If you're not familiar with that, the term brick comes from the fact that when you're done with your bike and you start to run, your legs feel like bricks. They're jelly legs. You can barely move them. If you haven't done this before, it's a very unique experience, one that you choose not to do too many times, okay? Your legs feel terrible. The more you practice that, the better your legs are going to feel. So as you're training on the bike, I recommend every single time you finish a bike training ride, put on your running shoes and run half a mile. You don't have to run very long. Half a mile will do it, but just run half a mile. Feel that terrible leg brick feeling, and it'll get better over time. Another thing that no one thinks to do, and I can't emphasize this enough, is practicing or rehearsing your transition. That's something you can do rain or shine. You can do it in your living room. You can do it in your bathroom. I mean, all you need is your pile of gear and a place to stand. Practice going through with your bucket and repeat that over and over. You can cut your transition time down 50, maybe even 75% simply by practicing it. And then another thing that's unique to triathlon is mounting and dismounting your bike while you're on the clock. Practice doing that as quickly as possible, and it'll pay off come race day. Here are a couple of websites that actually show you the pros doing a bike mount and a bike dismount. So you can jot these down and go to those sites and try and watch what they're doing. And I'm actually going to try one right now to see if I can call it up. Okay. So here's a volunteer here. Here's the mount line. He runs. Now he gets on his bike and he rides off. See, it's the person in the back just did the same thing. Let's do that again. Here's your volunteer. Here's your mount line. Person comes running. He's not on his bike, crosses the line, jumps on, and just starts pedaling off. So that was a little demonstration of how one way you might want to mount the bike. Here's the opposite. Here's a little clip I have on the dismount, but first you have to watch a little commercial, I guess. Okay, here's your volunteer. Here's your mount line. Rides right up to it. Now he gets off his bike. Okay. Now you're going to run into, you won't have bike catchers. This is Ironman. You're going to have to work the hard way. You're going to have to do it all yourself. But again, roll right up to the line, off the bike, run in. And as I said, with you, you're going to run in with your bike all the way to the rack. If we don't have bike catchers on this one, we'll save that for the Ironman people. Okay. This slide is really mostly for women. Okay. Women tend to have more cut areas, more chafing areas than guys do. Guys also do, but not as much. Okay. The Body Glide, which is, as I said, it's like a petroleum product that kind of makes your skin a bit slipperier. It's a great thing to put on all the chafing lines. Any lines where your bathing suit might cut in, armpits, anywhere where shorts or shirts chafe, bra lines, lube that up really well so that you don't cut. I once ran a marathon and I saw somebody do it in like a conventional bra and she cut herself up bloody. It was horrible to see. So you want to lube that up as much as possible so that you don't get any skin rashes like that. Some women are more well endowed than others. In a case like that, you might want to consider double braing to offer a little bit more support. So specifically the run leg is not so uncomfortable. And some people also experience leakage issues. For that, the recommendation is just to put a small light pad on the inside of your running shorts. You can also have it for biking, but predominantly for running. You certainly don't want that for the swim, but just a small light one on the inside of your running shorts will do the trick. Okay, so I talked a lot And as you can probably tell, there's a lot of moving parts in triathlon. There's a lot of things that are going on. Okay. A lot of these things are outside of your control, but the one thing that is absolutely positively within your control is your attitude. As long as you keep a good attitude, you'll have a great time and a good race. So have a positive attitude, have a great day, have lots and lots of fun. And when the race is over, please remove your stuff out of the transition area. Right? We would like everything out of transition by 10:30. If you can get it out sooner than 10:30, that would be even better. Okay? We are going to have after party. There's going to be some food and refreshments over in the pavilion. Okay. After you remove your things from the transition area, the volunteers will be able to the transition volunteers will be able to participate in the party as well. So let's respectfully consider them. As soon as things can be removed from transition, let's do it so the volunteers can get out that much sooner. You cannot remove your things from transition immediately, right? You cannot take them out until the last runner has started the run course. That way we want to make it fair to everyone. We don't want people in there chatting and clogging up all the pathways in transition until the last runner has entered the run course. As soon as the last runner has entered the run course, now you can go into transition and remove your things. And again, please come over to the pavilion, have something to eat, listen to the music, enjoy, and let's all share some triathlon stories. Okay. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time. If there's anything more I can answer for you, my email address is on the screen. Feel free to email me with any questions you might have, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. Just I'll ask that you simply identify yourself as a Lake Wildwood Triathlon participant, and your question is, and I will get back to you. So thank you. I hope we have a great day. I hope you have a great race. Good luck.